In retail, a return is the process of a customer taking previously purchased merchandise back to the retailer, and in turn receiving a refund in the original form of payment, exchange for another item, or a store credit. Many retailers will accept returns provided that the customer has a receipt as a proof of purchase, and that certain other conditions, which depend on the retailer's policies, are met. These may include the merchandise being in a certain condition, no more than a certain amount of time having passed since the purchase, and sometimes that identification be provided. In some cases, only exchanges or store credit are offered, again usually only without a receipt, or after an initial refund period has passed. Some retailers charge a restocking fee for non-defective returned merchandise, but typically only if the packaging has been opened. While retailers are not usually required to accept returns, laws in many places require retailers to post their return policy in a place where it would be visible to the customer prior to purchase. In certain countries, such as Australia, consumer rights dictate that under certain situations consumers have a right to demand a refund. These situations include sales that relied on false or misleading claims, defective goods, and undisclosed conditions of sale. There are various reasons why customers may wish to return merchandise. These include a change of one's mind, quality of the merchandise, personal dissatisfaction, or a mistaken purchase of the wrong product. For clothing or other sized items, it may be a lack of a correct fit. Sometimes, there may be a product recall in which the manufacturer has requested that the merchandise be brought back to the store. Also, gift receipts are offered sometimes when an item is purchased for another person, and the recipient can exchange this item for another item of comparable value, or for store credit, often on a gift card. Issues = fraudulent returns = In the United States, various abuses using the return process allegedly cost retailers more than $9 billion annually. One common practice is the use of the system in order to borrow the merchandise at no charge. The customer who engages in this practice purchases the item for temporary use, then returns it when finished. Examples include an article of clothing worn for a single occasion, or a book that is returned after it has been read. Stores such as Macy's and Ross put large "do not remove" tags on women's dresses to try to defeat this, not accepting returns or exchanges for any items that do not have the tag. Many stores also refuse to refund certain items like reading materials, inflatable airbeds, and even portable heaters. Another problem is when customers legitimately purchase an item, then re-enter the store with the receipt, take an identical item off the shelf, and approach the customer service desk requesting a refund. In the process, they essentially receive the item for free, and may be charged with shoplifting or another similar crime if caught. Others have been reported to print fake receipts which they use to return stolen merchandise for a cash refund. However, this is nearly impossible now that most stores use individually numbered receipts. Scanning the receipt's barcode at the cash register links legitimate returns to a database that validates the original purchase. Denying returns = Some retailers have turned to a practice in which customers who return or exchange items excessively may be prevented from making a return or exchange with that particular company. An agency called the Retail Equation collects data from participating retailers via a swipe of a driver's license. The information found on the license is collected into a database, and other stores operated by the particular retail company can use this information to deny a return. This system can be used to prevent various problems, such as return fraud. These controversial practices of collecting information have been addressed privacy rights advocates and spurned a movement for boycotting chains that collect consumers' private information and allow third-party sources to use it. The request of presenting a form of identification for returning products and collecting the information has stirred controversy, especially if the customer that purchased the product was a minor. Immigrant rights groups have voiced serious concern over the practice since most illegal immigrants don't have a state ID or a driver's license, and this practice could potentially be used to discriminate against them. Legislation exists in various parts of the world giving consumers the right to return goods in a supplied condition for a full refund, within a set period of time, known as a cooling-off period. Sometimes this legislation only applies to distance sales such as online or mail order, or to specific types of goods or services. See also, Lemon Law, Money-Back Guarantee, Return Merchandise Authorization, Warranty, Cooling-Off Period. External links. The Retail Equation homepage describes details about the agency and returning. References.